You wake up, and before the sun even cuts through the blinds, you're already fighting. The room is quiet, but your thoughts are loud. A swarm of unfinished worries circling like vultures. You haven't moved, but you're exhausted. Not from life, but from thinking about it. What if I fail again? Why did I say that yesterday? Why can't I stay consistent? You call it normal, but it's not. You've just gotten used to chaos. No one ever taught you that your mind was meant to be your ally, not your tormentor. It's supposed to protect you, not ambush you the moment silence arrives. Yet here you are, scrolling, numbing, distracting, anything but facing yourself. But listen carefully. Avoidance isn't peace, it's surrender. And every time you run, your mind learns to dominate you instead of obey you. That stops now. Your mind isn't broken, it's untrained. You've spent years letting it run wild, feeding it noise, giving it permission to bully you. But a warrior doesn't negotiate with chaos. He learns to master it. Every overthought fear, every imagined scenario, every replayed regret is a test of leadership. You can't fix what you refuse to confront. You can drown your thoughts in music, chase distractions, or bury yourself in busyness. But the silence will always return. And when it does, it exposes what you've ignored. Pain that needs processing, dreams that need direction, emotions that need order. Stop labeling it as weakness. It's feedback. It's your mind begging you to take command. The Stoics understood this. They treated the mind like a weapon. Unsharpened steel cuts its owner first. Sharpen it, and it becomes unstoppable. So from this moment, you stop hiding. You lead your thoughts like a commander leads his army, with discipline, strategy, and purpose. The modern world has made you soft. You're told to relax, to go easy on yourself, to just think positive. But, that's not enough. You don't need comfort, you need clarity. The ancient Stoics didn't find peace by escaping pain. They forged it in the middle of war, exile, betrayal, and chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not in peace, but surrounded by disease and death. He didn't seek escape. He sought command over his mind, over his reactions, over his reality. That's what you need now. The strength to look your chaos in the eye and say, "You don't lead me anymore." You can't outscroll anxiety. You can't outdrink doubt. You can only outdiscipline them. Because in the end, mental peace isn't found. It's built. It's a fortress made from routine, with self-respect, and brutal honesty. So, let's begin rebuilding yours. One principle, one decision, one unflinching moment at a time. Your emotions are powerful, but they are not supposed to steer your life. When Marcus Aurelius said, "If you were distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it," he wasn't offering comfort. He was issuing a command. Feelings are signals, not orders. But most people let them grab the wheel and crash the vehicle. You feel angry, you lash out. You feel anxious, you hide. You feel sad, you stop trying. That's not emotional intelligence. That's emotional slavery. A Stoic doesn't deny emotion, he directs it. You can feel anger without acting cruel. You can feel fear and still speak truth. The moment you pause and name what you feel, this is fear. This is shame. This is jealousy. You create distance. You stop being the emotions and start observing it. That gap between impulse and action is where self-mastery begins. Discipline isn't about being emotionless. It's about being the one in command when emotion rises. When emotion strikes, your first reaction determines your future. That split second, the one before you speak, post, or react, is your battlefield. Most people lose it there. They explode, retreat, or self-destruct. But a Stoic pauses. He sees the feeling rise and says, "I acknowledge you, but you don't command me." That single breath gives logic time to arrive. That moment of awareness turns chaos into control. Here's a practice. When you feel overwhelmed, stop and label it out loud. This is anger. This is fear. This is envy. Then ask yourself, what would my wiser self do right now? That one question separates warriors from reactors. Write your thoughts before acting on them. The page will absorb your emotion before it ruins your progress. This is what Marcus Aurelius did every morning, not for poetry, but for power. Every time you pause, you reclaim your throne, because control isn't found in calm moments. It's forged in the storms you survive without losing your head. The real enemy isn't chaos around you, it's the chaos within you. Your thoughts race like an army with no general, attacking you from all sides. One minute you're focused. The next, your mind has dragged you into 10 different futures and 5 old regrets. That's not awareness, that's disorder. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." That craving isn't just for things, it's for control, certainty, validation. You keep running mental simulations, trying to predict and prevent pain, but all you create is exhaustion. Overthinking doesn't make you wise, it makes you weak. The Stoics trained their thoughts like soldiers. Every idea had to report, justify, and obey reason. You can do the same. When your heart races for no reason, when you reread the same sentence 5 times and it won't stick, that's your mind running rogue. Stop, breathe, focus on one thing, one problem, one step. That's how order returns. Your mind loves to sprint when stillness demands patience. You start your day clear. Then one message, one memory, one thought ignites a storm. You're suddenly in arguments that haven't happened, worried about outcomes that don't exist. You're fighting shadows and losing energy to ghosts. Here's the truth. Most of what drains you never actually happens. The mind, left unchecked, invents enemies. The Stoics knew this. They believed the undisciplined mind was the true source of suffering, not life itself. So train it. When your thoughts accelerate, force them to walk. Close your eyes, inhale deep, exhale slow. Ask, what is the one real problem I'm facing right now? Everything else is noise. You don't need to control every storm. You just need to control your focus. The mind will try to juggle 10 fears. Drop 9. Face 1. Solve that. When the mind sees order, panic dissolves. Power isn't built by thinking faster. It's built by thinking clearly. Every night, your mind replays the day like a film, except most people never stop to review it. They just scroll, numb, sleep, repeat. But a Stoic studies the footage. Before sleep, ask yourself, what thoughts ruled me today? Which fears lied to me? Which impulses did I obey? That reflection isn't guilt, it's sharpening. You catch patterns before they become prisons. You see how often anxiety comes not from real danger, but from imagination. You start noticing that half your problems vanish the moment you face them with awareness. This is why Seneca reflected each evening, not to punish himself, but to purify his mind. Awareness breaks the cycle. When you review your day, your brain learns you are paying attention, and chaos loses its authority. So tonight, don't just close your eyes. Command your thoughts before they command your sleep. Write what troubled you. Question it. The next morning, you'll wake up lighter. Not because life changed, but because you did. You are not only what you eat, you are what you consume with your eyes, your ears, and your attention. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Yet most people feed their minds garbage and wonder why they feel sick. You scroll through gossip, comparison, fear, outrage, and then question why peace feels impossible. Imagine eating whatever random food a stranger threw at you. You'd get sick in days. But that's exactly what happens when you consume mindless content. The Stoics filtered their input like warriors guarding a fortress gate. Every word, every story, every influence had to earn entry. If it didn't serve clarity or courage, it was denied. So audit your mind's diet. Ask, does this strengthen me or weaken me? Does it teach me or drain me? If it poisons your focus, cut it out. The weak mind isn't born, it's conditioned by noise. Purify your input, and strength returns. Your mind is a forge, not a trash bin. Every word you hear, every clip you watch, every conversation you entertain is fuel. The question is, does it build fire or create smoke? If you constantly consume negativity, you'll start to think it's normal. If you surround yourself with shallow minds, your thoughts will shrink to fit theirs. You can't expect clarity when your mental diet is chaos. The Stoics guarded their focus like sacred ground because they knew distraction is the enemy of power. So start cleansing. Replace one worthless input with one worthy one. 2 pages of wisdom instead of 2 hours of noise. Listen to thinkers who challenge you, not clowns who numb you. Watch less, reflect more. Read slowly. Think deeply. Even your silence should feed you. Remember this. Your attention is currency, and what you fund grows. Stop funding your own weakness. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you invest in a stronger mind. Most of your suffering doesn't come from reality. It comes from the stories your mind invents about reality. Someone frowns, and you assume they're angry at you. A message goes unanswered, and you assume rejection. The Stoics warned about this trap centuries ago. We are more often frightened than hurt. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. You don't react to facts. you react to interpretations. Every time you absorb an event and twist it through insecurity, you hand over your peace. The Stoic mind doesn't absorb everything, it observes everything. When something happens, they ask, what do I actually know? What am I assuming? That pause breaks illusion. Not everything is about you. Not every silence is judgment. Not every change is loss. Life is neutral until your mind paints it otherwise. Observation is strength, assumption is weakness. Detach your perception from your fear, and you'll start to see life as it is, not as your wounds imagine it. You've been trained to personalize everything. Someone forgets to call, you feel unwanted. You get criticized, you feel attacked. You hear silence, you fill it with insecurity. That's not awareness, that's emotional addiction. The Stoic learns to separate fact from feeling. Feelings are valid, but they are not proof. When your mind screams, they don't care. Stop and ask, what evidence do I have? Most times, the answer is none, just fear dressing up as logic. Train yourself to pause before you conclude. The untrained mind rushes to interpret. The disciplined mind waits to verify. You don't need to assign meaning to every event. You don't need to decode every silence. Sometimes things just are. Seneca practiced this nightly, examining whether his judgments were true or just tinted by past pain. When you stop absorbing the world emotionally, you stop bleeding from invisible wounds. Detachment isn't apathy, it's clarity. It's learning to see without distorting. Control is the biggest illusion your mind clings to. You want to predict outcomes, read intentions, see the future before it unfolds. But that hunger for certainty is what keeps you anxious. Epictetus said, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do. You've been trained to fear uncertainty, yet uncertainty is the only honest state of life. The Stoic doesn't beg for guarantees. He builds resilience for any outcome. You don't need to know what will happen. You just need to know you'll respond with strength when it does. That's real control, not over the storm, but over your sails. Every time you let go of needing answers, you reclaim energy. You stop fighting time. You stop trying to outguess fate. You stop letting fear decide your focus. Peace begins the moment you stop needing to predict everything and start trusting your ability to handle anything. Uncertainty exposes your relationship with yourself when you don't trust your own strength. The unknown feels terrifying, but when you know you can endure, the fog no longer scares you. Most people panic not because life is uncertain, but because they've built no foundation inside themselves. They've placed peace in predictability, and predictability doesn't exist. The Stoic mindset says, I don't control the storm, but I control the helm. That's your power. Calm direction in chaos. When your mind starts racing with what ifs, answer with, so what? So what if it goes wrong? So what if it takes longer? You'll still be here. You'll still be capable. Fear lives in the future. Peace lives in presence. Anchor yourself in what's real right now. Your breath, your effort, your focus. The unknown isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. Every time you choose stillness over panic, you prove to your mind that you are stronger than uncertainty itself. You wake up strong one day, lost the next, because your mind is tied to emotion, not discipline. Most people act only when they feel like it. That's why they never build consistency. The Stoics understood this weakness. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. They didn't wait for motivation. They built systems that worked even when they didn't feel ready. Your emotions are weather. Your habits are architecture. If you build your life around moods, every storm will destroy your progress. But if you build around structure, routines, reflections, your principles, you become unshakable. Every morning should start with mental alignment. 5 minutes of silence. One clear intention. One written reminder of who you are and what you value. That's not routine. That's armor. The world will test you before breakfast. Without structure, you break. With it, you lead. Discipline doesn't kill freedom. It creates it. Because chaos obeys no one, but routine obeys you. The mind respects what it sees you repeat. Every consistent act is proof that you are stronger than your moods. When you wake up and choose stillness before chaos, your brain learns who's in charge. That's why the Stoics journaled, meditated, and reflected daily. Not for religion, but for regulation. These rituals weren't soft habits. They were battle drills. 5 minutes of silence every morning is not luxury. It's warfare against distraction. Writing one clear statement like, my peace is not negotiable, or I will not react without reason, reprograms your focus. And when life hits, and it will, you don't collapse. You've already trained, you move with discipline, not impulse. Stop worshiping motivation. Stop chasing emotional highs. You don't need more inspiration, you need consistency. Even showing up at 40% is better than quitting at 100%. Your future self doesn't care how you felt today, only that you kept moving. Rituals are the proof of inner command. The world is loud, fast, and demanding everywhere you look. People are shouting opinions, chasing validation, performing perfection. And in the middle of that noise, you start to forget who you are. You compare, compete, and collapse under invisible pressure. But the Stoics built their worth from within. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by plague and war, yet his peace came from his mind, not his throne. That's the blueprint. When your inner foundation is strong, no storm outside can break you. When your identity is rooted in virtue, not approval, no insult can shake you. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need applause. You need alignment between your thoughts, your actions, and your purpose. External chaos will always exist, but your job is to become the calm within it. The stronger your inner structure, the quieter the world becomes. Build a fortress within, unshakable, self-led, and sovereign. You've been conditioned to chase approval, the likes, the compliments, the acknowledgement that you're doing well. But every time you seek validation, you hand over control. The Stoics didn't measure worth by applause, they measured it by alignment. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for readers. He wrote them to remind himself who he refused to become. You don't need to prove your value. You need to live it. Let people misunderstand you. Let them doubt you. Let them think you've changed, because you have. Approval is a leash. Authenticity is freedom. Every time you choose peace over performance, you reclaim your power. Remember, external praise is unstable. One day you're admired, the next you're forgotten. But self-respect, earned through disciplined action, doesn't fade. Say it to yourself until it becomes truth. I no longer chase validation. I cultivate mastery. The world doesn't owe you recognition. You owe yourself integrity. That's the real measure of greatness. You've been taught that success is noise, trophies, numbers, recognition. But the Stoic defines success differently. To him, victory means ruling the self. Winning isn't about being seen, it's about being stable. It's holding your center when the world tries to pull you apart. Redefine your scoreboard. Peace is a win. Self-control is a win. Waking up and showing up when your mind resists, that's a win. Stop measuring your worth by things that can be taken. A raise, a follower count, an opinion, all fragile currencies. True wealth is the ability to remain calm under fire. So, write your own definition of success today. Something unshakable, something only you can control. Maybe it's consistency. Maybe it's discipline. Maybe it's quiet confidence. Let that be your compass, because the more you chase the world's definition, the further you drift from your own power. Real winners don't chase validation. They build virtue. No one applauds when you resist the urge to react. No one notices when you stay calm instead of explode. No one claps when you choose focus over distraction. But those silent wins are where power is built. The Stoics didn't post about progress. They practiced it in private. Every time you master a small impulse, holding your tongue, managing your time, rejecting laziness, you carve another line of discipline into your character. That's real progress. You don't need external witnesses. The only audience that matters is your conscience. Start honoring your invisible victories. They are proof that your foundation is holding, even when no one sees it. Most people chase being impressive. Few pursue being solid. Be one of the few. Quiet strength always outlasts loud potential. Remember, what you do unseen becomes the strength everyone feels when life tests you in public. That's how warriors are built. In silence, comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It whispers, "You've done enough." When you've barely begun, it convinces you to stay soft when life demands strength. The Stoics saw comfort as decay, the slow erosion of willpower disguised as self-care. Every moment you choose comfort over challenge, your discipline weakens. You lose sharpness. You lose edge. Real peace isn't found in ease. It's forged in endurance. Wake up earlier than your excuses. Do the thing you keep postponing. Embrace discomfort like a training ground, not a punishment. Marcus Aurelius woke each day reminding himself that he was born to work, to serve, to endure. You were too. Stop expecting life to get easier. Expect yourself to get tougher. Growth feels uncomfortable because you're breaking mental limits that were never meant to hold you. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you teach your mind who's master. Pain refines, comfort rots. Choose the path that strengthens you. Discipline isn't about feeling ready. It's about showing up when you're not. Most people wait for motivation, but warriors act without it. The Stoics understood that consistency beats intensity. Anyone can perform when they're inspired. Few can persist when they're tired, uncertain, or uninspired. That's where strength is proven. When you rise and face the day, even when you feel empty, you build the kind of mental armor that nothing external can pierce. Stop romanticizing motivation. It's unreliable. Build a code instead. A system of actions so ingrained that even your bad days move you forward. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do it relentlessly. Miss one day, start again. Fail, learn, then repeat. Progress isn't loud. It's the silent decision to keep going, each time you show up when you don't want to. You're not just building a habit, you're building a reputation with yourself. Every structured habit you build is an act of rebellion against chaos. Your morning ritual, your writing, your training, they are declarations that your mind belongs to you. The world wants you distracted, reactive, scrolling, chasing dopamine hits. But when you repeat your routine with precision, you stand apart. You move like a soldier while others drift like leaves. Seneca said, "Discipline strengthens the soul. Every repetition hardens your focus." Don't underestimate small acts. Making your bed, writing one line, reflecting in silence. They look simple, but they forge identity. You're proving that your choices are stronger than your moods. People talk about freedom. They forget that without order, freedom turns into chaos. Routine isn't prison, it's protection. The more consistent your structure, the less room your weakness has to grow. Don't let your days blur together. Design them, direct them, dominate them, because every repeated act of discipline is a vote for who you're becoming. Discipline isn't glamorous, it's repetition. It's showing up when it's dull, when no one's watching, when your progress feels invisible. That's where 99% of people quit, not because it's impossible, but because it's boring. The Stoics thrived in monotony. They didn't need excitement, they needed progress. Marcus Aurelius didn't look for motivation, he looked for alignment. Real warriors don't chase stimulation, they chase mastery. You'll never build a sharp mind if you're constantly seeking novelty. The grind is sacred. The repetition is refining you, even when you can't see it. Your ego wants constant results. Your discipline only needs direction. Do it again and again. The mind that can endure boredom can conquer chaos, because it no longer needs pleasure to perform. Most people burn out because they confuse consistency with comfort. But the truth is this: repetition is transformation in disguise. Every dull day of doing the right thing is one step closer to unshakable strength. You'll never respect yourself until you start keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you weaken your own authority. Your subconscious keeps score. You tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," and tomorrow becomes a pattern of betrayal. The Stoics knew that integrity isn't public, it's private. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." Discipline begins with keeping your word even when no one's watching. If you tell yourself you'll wake early, do it. If you promise you'll focus for 1 hour, keep it. The moment you follow through, your mind starts to trust you again. Confidence isn't loud, it's quiet consistency with your own values. You don't need more motivation, you need credibility with yourself. Every promise kept is another brick in your fortress of self-respect. Start small. Keep one word today. Watch how your confidence grows from obedience, not inspiration. Excuses are elegant lies. They sound logical. They feel justified. But they exist for one reason: to protect your weakness. You tell yourself you're tired, too busy, not ready yet. But deep down, you know, it's fear wearing a mask. The Stoics destroyed excuses with truth. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Every excuse steals time you'll never get back." The disciplined mind doesn't negotiate with laziness, it exposes it. When you hear the voice that says, "Not today," answer it with action. Move, even for 5 minutes. Momentum destroys resistance. You don't need a perfect plan, you need execution. Most people fail not from lack of ability, but from excess of delay. Don't wait to feel ready. Readiness is built through repetition. You'll never master your life if you keep explaining why you can't. The Stoic says less, does more, and moves forward regardless. Perfection is procrastination disguised as ambition. You tell yourself you're just waiting for the right time, but what you're really doing is avoiding the discomfort of starting. The Stoics never waited for ideal conditions. They created results in chaos. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for peace to lead. He ruled during war. Epictetus didn't wait for freedom to teach. He taught as a slave. If you keep waiting for calm seas, you'll die on the shore. There is no perfect moment, only this one. The disciplined act while others hesitate. Action breeds clarity. Hesitation breeds confusion. The longer you delay, the heavier the weight of inaction becomes. So start messy. Begin afraid. Move while it's uncertain. You don't rise when conditions improve. You rise when you decide excuses no longer define you. The Stoic doesn't ask, when will it be easy? He asks, when will I stop waiting? And the answer is always, now. Hardship isn't your punishment, it's your purification. The Stoics believed every obstacle was training, a forge to burn away weakness. When life hits you with rejection, loss, or betrayal, it's not trying to break you, it's trying to reveal you. Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Most people collapse under pressure because they think pain means they're failing. But the disciplined mind sees pain differently. As resistance training for the soul, every challenge is sharpening you, building emotional armor where fragility once lived. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this making of me? Every difficulty contains a demand. Rise or retreat. You are not being tested to suffer. You are being tested to strengthen. The world is hard. Yes, but so are you. The moment you embrace adversity as teacher, not enemy, you become unstoppable. A warrior doesn't hope for an easy path. He sharpens himself for a hard one. Life's chaos doesn't scare him. It calibrates him. The Stoics lived this truth daily. They knew discipline was not about punishment, but precision. When you wake up tired, when the world feels heavy, when you want to quit, that's your invitation to rise above the noise of weakness. You're not fighting the world. You're fighting the part of yourself that wants comfort more than growth. The enemy isn't outside, it's inside. And once you conquer that inner resistance, nothing external can touch you. Strength isn't found in shouting. It's found in stillness. Power isn't proven by control over others, but by mastery over self. So remind yourself daily, I am the commander of my mind, not its captive. You can't control every circumstance, but you can always control your stance. And that, warrior, is where freedom begins. The weak react, the strong reflect. Most people live unconsciously, ruled by impulse, chained by emotion, and driven by fear. But the Stoic slows down, steps back, and observes. Awareness is your greatest weapon because it gives you choice. You can't control what you don't notice. The moment you recognize a destructive pattern, anger, envy, distraction, you've already taken its power. The untrained mind acts first and regrets later. The disciplined mind notices, pauses, and redirects. That's the difference between chaos and control. The Stoics practice this daily. Constant observation, constant correction. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every night. Not to feel better, but to think clearer. You must do the same. Audit your thoughts like a leader inspecting his army. Everyone must serve your mission. Awareness doesn't make life easier. It makes you unshakable in the middle of it. Know yourself deeply, because the mind you understand. You can command. Your mind is sacred ground. If you don't guard it, the world will invade it with opinions, fears, temptations, and noise. Most people leave their gates wide open. They let every criticism, every comparison, every distraction enter freely, and then wonder why they feel weak. A Stoic builds walls around his peace, not walls of arrogance, but of awareness, not to block truth, but to block poison. Marcus Aurelius ruled millions, yet his greatest kingdom was internal. He mastered the art of holding calm while surrounded by chaos. You can too. Fortify your thoughts daily. Limit what gets inside, who you listen to, what you watch, what you entertain. Protect your focus as if your life depends on it, because it does. Once your mind becomes disciplined, your environment loses its grip. You stop reacting. You start deciding, and in that stillness, you find the highest form of power, self-command. This is where it all comes together. You've learned to stop obeying emotions, to slow your thoughts, to filter your inputs, to stay steady in uncertainty, to build routines that outlast moods. and to make your inner world stronger than the chaos outside. That's what it means to live with Stoic mastery, not to escape pain, but to lead through it. You will still fall, you will still feel fear. But now you know, you are not your feelings. You are your decisions. You are not your thoughts. You are your response to them. The Stoic doesn't wait for peace. He creates it through presence, discipline, and relentless awareness. Every pause before reacting, every calm breath in conflict, every act of restraint, that is victory. Don't chase an easier life. Build a stronger mind, because when your mind stands unshaken, everything else follows. Lead your mind, and the rest of your life will kneel. If you've made it this far, don't just listen, move. Knowledge without action dies in your head. Discipline without decision never breathes. So, take one truth from this message and apply it today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Act now. Write down your first command to yourself. Maybe it's, I take back my focus, or I master my emotions, or simply, I lead my mind, then live it. Because you don't change by wishing, you change by leading yourself differently every single day. If this message hit you, leave a comment below. Tell me what truth woke something up inside you. I read every single one. Your words matter, not just to me, but to the community of warriors walking this same path. Thanks for listening. This is Momentum Mindset, where we don't chase motivation. We build discipline. Now get up, act with purpose, and show your mind who's in command.